What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Windy City Bro Pen PGA DFS Live Before Lock show. I'm your host, Jim. Before I get into it for this week, I want to remind you guys of two things. First is the For Fantasy's Sake charity golf outing. That is on August 2nd. That's a Sunday. Teeing off at 8. Registration is at 7:30. It is $280 a team. That's $70 a person. Included into that is, of course, 18 holes in a cart. But also you get vouchers for Lifted Energy and Hungry Carnivore. And most importantly, we're giving back to the community. That's what this whole thing is about. All proceeds go to local community-driven events, such as like Toys for Tots. Like I said, I've said it a million times, guys, this is really a great opportunity to help your local community, helping those in need. And the cherry on top is we get to golf. Windy City Bro Pen's got a team. We're trying to get another team. For fantasy's sake, they definitely have, for frequency's sake, I should say, they have, I know they got a team. They probably got a couple teams, knowing those guys. We'd love to have all you guys out there. I saw we got a couple more sponsors this week. I just want to thank you guys for signing up. We really do appreciate your help. It's just a really great opportunity to give back to the community, and that's just the bottom line. Hope to see you guys all there. Would love to have every last one of you there. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see you guys there on Sunday, August 2nd. The second thing, calling all fantasy football players. How many of you love fantasy football, want to talk a little smack, but also want to do a good thing? Well, the Toys for Tots Bowl is for you then. This year, the goal is to get 240 teams. This will be my first year participating, but these guys over the last 5 years have have gotten over $10,000 in donations that have been given back to families during Christmas time through Toys for Tots, which is awesome. That's, again, it's just another good charity event. It's a good cause. You're helping people out in your local community, especially around Christmas time. I know it gets hard for people with everything going on in the world. It's just another great way to give back. And I'm challenging all you guys. I'm like the best fantasy football player I know. Come get some. Come get some. Come beat me and come beat some of the rest of the crew. And on top of that, you're giving back to the community and you're helping those in need. Let me know if you'd like to sign up. I posted it to my personal page. It's on the For Frequency's Sake page. It's on DJ's page. If you're having issues signing up, just let myself or DJ know, and we'll help you get signed up. We'd love to have you guys competing. There's prizes included. There's obviously bragging rights, which is what I'm in it for. I want to show you guys how good I am at fantasy football. So please let me know if you're interested in signing up. Like I said, the goal is 240 teams. This particular league over the last 5 years has gotten over $10,000 in donations, and we'd love to keep that number going. And just would love to have you guys there. Also, just a reminder on the golf, I forgot to mention this. We are still looking for whole sponsors and teams. So if you guys are interested, please let me know. We will get you signed up for that as well. But we'll get right into the memorial for you guys. This week, the golfers are headed to Dublin, Ohio to play at Muirfield. I was fortunate enough to be there last year with two of my good friends, Rob and Brandon. And man, we had a blast. We were there all 4 days. And to be honest with you, it was pretty affordable to go too. I think it was $350 for all 4 days combined. It might have been $300. 6-hour drive here from Peoria, so it wasn't too bad. Just great golf, great golfers playing. It was kind of hard to follow Scotty, but you knew when he was doing good because you could hear the roar throughout the course. Just to compare it a little bit to like baseball, you know, like when you see a guy hit like a pop fly and the crowd goes crazy, they think it's going to be a home run. It's kind of how it was with Scotty. When he'd miss a putt, like you would get that reaction. But it was such a great environment. We got to see Jack Nicklaus driving around on premises. It was just so awesome. Like, just such a great experience. Ideally, I'm going to get back there next year or the year after. It was that much fun. Loved the atmosphere, loved the feel of it. It just felt like a big golf tournament. It just felt like there was something at stake because it's Jack's place. So this is one of my favorite tournaments. I got this one marked on my calendar every year. I love it. I loved it even more when it was a full field event. This week, it is going to be a 72-person field. There is a cut, which is nice. So it's top 50 in ties, and then anybody within 10 strokes of the leader. So there will be a cut this week. So it's going to be very important. But we'll get to the first thing we always check every week, and that is the weather. Um, so for the weather, it's looking really tame tomorrow. Nothing too crazy. Pretty tame Friday morning, but there will be some wind towards Friday afternoon. Now, is it going to be that big of a deal? I don't know if it's going to be a huge deal, but it's something to consider with maybe your last guy in your lineup, maybe your second to last guy in the lineup. If they're one of those lower 6K guys and they're kind of getting the worst weather, maybe that's where you pivot and you maybe go for the guy that's PM AM as opposed to a guy that's AM PM, because AM PM would be the wave that's at a disadvantage with the wind that's projected for Friday afternoon. So keep that in mind when you're building this week as far as the weather goes. Now, as far as the stats this week, with it being a 72 person field and just the level of this course, this is a really difficult course. This is a firm, fast, long course. It's tough. If you're not in the fairway, you're in trouble. Should be a pretty low scoring week. And like I've told you guys a million times, I love those weeks. I seem to thrive in those weeks. And I'm hoping for more of the same this week. Things I'm looking at are tee to green on long courses with strong fields and difficult scoring. Again, like I told you guys before, I do all my research and like model building through BetSperts Golf with their rabbit hole. Shout out Ron Close. I won't dive into too much. Like I won't give you guys any stats or anything. I'll tell you what I'm able to look up. But that's one thing I can look at. I can look up tee to green, and then I can set the filters to long courses, strong fields, and then difficult scoring conditions, and that yields me the strokes gained data for those guys over X amount of rounds. So that's one thing I looked at. Another thing I was looking at is approach on small greens on difficult to a gain approach. Because these greens are small, they're firm and they're fast, so that also makes them really hard to gain strokes on approach. So you're gonna want guys that are dialed in with their longer irons. So, and the next thing is accuracy. So you're gonna want guys that are keeping it in the fairway, guys that are good with their long irons, and then guys that can putt on bent grass. These are firm and fast greens. The surface is bent. Um, the rough is really penal this week. I mean, if you're in the rough, you're fighting for par if you're lucky. So those are some things to keep in mind. Another couple stats I looked at were bogey avoidance and scrambling from the rough percentage. Uh, I could use other filters in there, like just like I said, when the rough's high, I can set that as a setting on there. Those are the kinds of things I was looking at. And then also the course history and comparable course history. Some other things I'm looking at. I'm treating this almost like it's kind of a major, just as far as how much I looked into. And when I'm done with all those stats, the one separator I'm looking at is par fives, because there are 4 par fives. And say I have two guys that I really like based on all those other stats I talked about, I'm going to be using par five scoring as kind of my uh, separator between the two, the way I'm going to decide. Like that's going to be the cherry on top stat to help me decide if I'm between two golfers. So those are the things I'm looking at this week. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be brutal out there. This isn't going to be easy. I'm expecting full on dogfight this week. Now, with that being said, here's some of the values slash sleepers I like this week. The first two guys, they are going to be chalky. They are going to be pretty owned. But like I just told you about all the stats, I was looking at, man, these guys were checking the boxes on a lot of those stats. And that was Keegan Bradley and Gary Woodland. Surprisingly, Gary is like one of the better putters on this surface. And he's got the course history, he's got the comp course history. Gary Woodland makes a lot of sense here, and that's why I see that he's probably going to be 15+% owned. Makes a lot of sense. Keegan, same kind of deal. He kind of fits all those stats. He doesn't really have the results this year. That kind of worries me a little bit. I don't think he has a single top 10 this year. So that would give me a little bit of pause at his ownership. But based on the stats, I do think he looks good this week. So those are two guys right there I'm considering. Two guys that I'm more than likely going to get to that I'm not scared off by the ownership because they're not really getting super owned are Sungjae M and Coco. Sungjae, man, both of these guys have a knack at pissing me off, but they both line up well for this course, and maybe they make sense. Coco in a dogfight, I kind of like Coco because he's not going to be a guy that you want in a tournament that's going to be like 18 under is the winner. Like Coco to me is a guy that somehow sneaks into the mix on Sunday in a tournament where like 8 under to 10 under wins. And that's kind of where I think this tournament ends up. So I think I like Coco and Sung Jae down there as far as some value slash sleeper type plays. And then my last little guy that I think I like as a sleeper is going to be Yella Miraju. He got into the field this week because Jake Knapp had to withdraw. So Yella is in the field, and I think he fits well here. He could be sneaky this week. He's very cheap. He's going to help you get into the Scotty builds. That's kind of the big thing this week. This is Scotty's won here 2 years in a row. He's going for the three-peat. It's kind of makes sense to get to Yella this week as a way to get to Scotty. As far as the guy I am fading this week, since there's only 72 people in the field, I'm only going to fade one guy for DFS, and I'm going to fade one guy for betting because I've been doing some outrights the last couple weeks, and actually we're on a streak 2 weeks in a row. I had Wendy and I had Russ last week. Cash those out. So we're trying to make it 3 in a row. I'm trying to be Scotty this week, trying to get 3 in a row. So the one guy I'm going to be fading for DFS is Nick Taylor. He is 6,800, and when the cards flip over tomorrow, I'm feel pretty certain he's going to be 15 to 20%, maybe even higher. And he makes sense, right? He keeps it in the fairway. He makes sense for this course, but at that ownership, it's just like I'll just take my chances elsewhere because if you figure, say if I play Scotty, Nick Taylor is a logical click in every Scotty lineup, and really anybody that you click there. He's 6,800. So he's going to get a lot of ownership. He's going to be like someone's going to click up top to whoever they like up top, and they're going to go immediately down to the 6K range. And they're like, oh, yeah, Nick Taylor looks good. That's going to be a common first 2 clicks. Is going to be one of the top 4 guys, and then Nick Taylor. So for me, Nick Taylor makes sense as a golfer, but from an ownership perspective, I'll be looking to fade him this week. I just don't think he's worth playing at that ownership. Now, the guy in betting that I'm going to fade this week, I like him for DFS. He could be a great leverage play up top. But as far as betting money on him this week, I'm not going to bet on Rory outright. He's never won here, never had a top 5 here. I know he's broke his Masters curse, and maybe he wins. But as far as like the outright betting, I don't think his number makes enough sense. But for DFS, I do think he could be a good leverage play up top off of Scotty. So just because I'm fading him betting wise doesn't mean I might not get to him as far as DFS goes. But just didn't want to confuse you guys there. I do think he's a viable DFS play, but outright bets, I probably wouldn't bet on Rory this week. And now for the guys that I'm playing. I'll be honest, man. I'm playing Scotty this week. I haven't really played Scotty at all this year. And I just think with the field and the guys in the 6K ranges, there's guys that I like down there. There's cheap guys that I like that I can get to, and I can still make my lineup a little bit different from everybody else that's playing Scotty. He just makes too much sense to not play here. I'm going to also be betting on Scotty this week. I know that's crazy. Like, why would you bet on a guy with those odds? But my strategy is to bet like almost use Scotty as a hedge, right? I'm going to bet enough on Scotty to where if he wins, I get all my money back. And then based on all my other bets that I'm going to bet, I'm going to have like probably 3 to 5 outrights. That's what I've been doing every week. Been throwing out 3 to 5 outrights. Try to tell you guys who I'm playing. Most of the time, the guys that I'm playing are guys that I bet on. I talked about Wyndham Clark in DFS 2 weeks ago. He won. Talked a little bit about Russ for DFS last week. And then he won. And that's kind of been my thing. For DFS, I haven't been really tearing it up this year, but I've been getting the winners in the lineups. So I switched my process a little bit, and I started getting on the sports book because I think it's just worth it to me. If I'm able to get the winners in the lineup, I might as well try to cash in some kind of aspect with that because it's not going well in DFS right now, but I have been hot on the sports book the last 2 weeks, hoping to keep that going. So Scotty will be a guy I'm looking at. And then I got 3 other guys I'm really looking at in both DFS and betting, and that is Ludes, Russ, and Xander. For Russ, I mean, he just won. He seems to do well in these tough tournaments. Obviously, he's playing good golf. I like Russ. I think he checks a lot of the boxes for the stats I was looking at that I mentioned earlier. As far as Ludes, same kind of deal. He checks a lot of those boxes. All three of these guys check a lot of those boxes. Of the three that I mentioned, though, like I think Xander presents the biggest leverage opportunity out of those three. And I hate to say, like nobody's due for anything, but this might be Xander's week. He's definitely on my radar. I really like him. Those are some of the guys I'm looking at up top, and that I'll be looking to get to this week. I don't really have too much else to talk about tonight. All I would say is this is a tough course. So, keep that in mind when you're building. You want guys that they have to be in the fairway here. They absolutely have to be in the fairway. And honestly, preferably you want guys that can scramble. Because at some point, these small, firm, fast greens, they're gonna end up off the green. And if they can't scramble, it doesn't really matter if they're in the fairway, most of the time, if they're not going to get there with their irons. It takes a complete game to win here. That's why tee to green was the first stat I mentioned, because the reality is you're going to have every club in your bag here if you want to win or be in the top 10. So that's probably what I'd look for mostly, is guys that are dialed in on accuracy with their long irons, and then guys that can scramble. From there, it's all luck who comes up to the top at the end. But yeah, I look forward to getting back with you guys on Friday for round 3 showdown. I'll have some more content for that, and we'll keep the schedule going as normal. And before I close out here, just want to remind you guys again of the For Fantasy Sake charity golf outing in the Toys for Tots Bowl. Please let me know if you're interested in getting signed up for the golf. That's August 2nd. And then the Toys for Tots Bowl, that starts with football season. Signups are on my page, For Frequency Sake page. If you're having any issues signing up, please let me know, or DJ. We'll get you signed up. We'd love to have you guys there. Both of these are great causes that help the QC community, and that's what it's all about. We want to help give back to our neighbors. I mean, these are people in our own community that we are trying to help out, and that we want to help them any way we can. And it's just the little things that help your community. It's about bringing people together and helping each other out. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. So let me know if you're interested in getting signed up. We'd be more than happy to have you guys there. But that's going to be it for me tonight. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you guys get on over to Windy City Bro Pen and For Frequency's Sake. Give us a like, share, and follow. We're looking to get more followers. If you're interested in talking golf, any kind of sports, we got a lot of people on there talking Bears. We got people just talking general NFL stuff. And me, I'm talking golf. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I will be with you on Friday night for round 3 showdown. Later.